So we go to firms, right?
Yes.
Chapter 20. Classification of firms. When you talk about firms, you're talking about businesses that produces goods or services. These are firms. Now we go to classification of firms. They said industry consists of firms producing the same product. The car industry, for example, includes firms such as Volvo, General Motors, Toyota. So when we talk about firms, we're talking about companies that are together that produces the same product within an industry. You know, industry is a combination of firms. So we have the educational industry, we have the car industry, we have all these industry.
Yes.
These industries are a combination of firms, but we call them industry. We call this industry because those firms inside that industry, they produce virtually the same goods. Clear, right?
Yes.
Okay. A firm is a business entity, also sometimes referred to as a business organization. Firms can have a number of plants. A plant is a production unit or workplace, such as factory, farm, office, or branch. A firm may hold several plants. The major car firms have factories throughout the world. So a firm is the same as a business. A business is the same as a business organization or a company. But these companies, they are situated cut across the globe. As a result, it means they have different plants, different branches, different workplace, different offices cut across the globe. That is the point there. I think it's clear.
Yes.
So firms will be classified in a number of ways. One is in terms of stage of production they produce in. Another is in terms of who owns the firm, and the third is in terms of the size of the firm. So what you're saying basically here is that when you're classifying the firms, you are classifying them based on one, the stage of production. Is it the primary, the secondary stage, or the tertiary stage? The second is what they produce. Are they producing goods or are they producing services? And the third point is how big are they? So these are the classification you could give to firms. I think that is clear.
Yes.
Okay. We'll go to the first classification, which is stages of production. Like I told you earlier, when we talk about stages of production, we're talking about the kind of production these businesses or these firms put into use as operations. So what do they engage themselves in? That is what stages of production is. So for the stages of production, we have the primary sector, we have the tertiary sector, and the secondary sector. So we start the stages. Industries and their firms and plants operate at different stages of production. The first one is the primary sector. We're talking about the primary sector. This is the first stage of production. It includes industries such as agriculture, coal mining, forestry. They involve the extraction and collection of raw materials. So any firm that extracts raw materials or collects raw materials, they are considered as what? Primary sector business. So they are in the first stage of production. Is it clear?
Yes.
Then we go to the secondary stage. The secondary stage is involved with the processing of raw materials into semi-finished and finished goods, both capital and consumer goods. It covers manufacturing and construction. The building, clothing, and steel industries are in this sector. So when I talk about the secondary sector, you know, as soon as the primary sector is done, that means as soon as the raw materials are collected or extracted, we can't use them like that. We need to convert them. So the sector that does the conversion of raw materials into finished or semi-finished goods are called the secondary sector businesses. Yeah, they use capital. That's why we talk about capital. So the secondary sector, they produce goods for other businesses and they produce goods for consumers. So they produce capital goods or consumer goods. Is it clear?
Yes.
That's the secondary sector. Then some economists identify, okay, then the third stage of production is called the tertiary. The tertiary sector industries producing services such as banking, insurance, tourism, education, and so on. So this sector provides services. Retailing is part of those tertiary sector. But now the last one, they said some economists identify a fourth sector, also known as quaternary sector. This is really a subsection of the tertiary sector. It covers those service industries which are involved with the collection and processing of transmission of information. So the quaternary is basically the information technology sector. They collect information. Do you understand? They process and transmit information. That's the sector. That's the fourth sector, which we are right now because of advancements in technology. Is it clear?
Yes.
So as economists As economies income grows, the industrial structure usually changes. Poor countries often have a large proportion of their output accounted for and the labor force employed in industry of the primary sector. One of the questions you have in the Bangladesh, this is what they're talking about. Poor countries, they have the largest proportion of their population in the primary sector. Underdeveloped countries, they have large proportion of their employment in the primary sectors. Do you get the point there, please? Do you get the point or not? Yes. All right. So, as economies, so that's the point about it. Look at what we have here. We have the countries here. We have Pakistan. We have the countries. We have the primary, the secondary, and tertiary. Yes or no? Yes. So look at based on what we have here. Pakistan, India, they have the largest proportion of. They have larger proportion of primary sector than China, US, and Hong Kong. Yes or no? Yes. Good. Look at the secondary sector. The secondary sector, they have less than China and USA. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Secondary sector.
Secondary, yes. Pakistan has less. Oh, yeah, and India, they have Pakistan and India has less than China, USA, and Hong Kong.
No, yeah. At the secondary. We have China and India.
I said, sorry, Pakistan and India, sorry.
Yes, India is second.
In the secondary sector, we have those countries that we have Pakistan, India. No, we have Pakistan, we have USA, they have less proportion, and Hong Kong.
Yes.
So it means India and China rely more on the secondary sector. Yes. Do you understand? Yes. That is the point. Then the tertiary sector, we have US and Hong Kong as the highest. So this shows how developed these countries are. So the largest proportion of employment in the tertiary sector is between USA and Hong Kong. So that means USA and Hong Kong is definitely developed than other countries mentioned in this graph, in this table.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes. Yes.
So we move down. Yeah, they are developing, yes. They are developing countries, they are just coming up. So for a country, for you to know how well a country is, you get to know through their strengths in the stage of production. Do you get me or not?
Yes, sir.
To know the level at which a country has developed, you get to know through their strength in the stages of production. If the strength of a country is in the primary sector, then it is a developing or underdeveloped economy. If the strength is in the secondary sector, it's developing. And if it is in the tertiary sector, it is developed. So we have underdeveloped or poor country in the primary sector, we have developing countries in the secondary sector, and we have developed countries in the tertiary sector. I think it's clear.
Yes.
Now go to the size, ownership of firms. In the market economic system, most firms are in the private sector. No, we are talking about classification of firms now. You can classify firms based on the stages of production, which we have done.
Yes, yes.
Now you can classify firms based on what their ownership. So now we're talking about the ownership. So we're talking about classification of firms through ownership. We're talking about either the private sector or the public sector. Do you understand what we're talking about here?
Yes, yes.
So now we're talking about classifying firms based on their ownership. So for ownership, we're talking about it being a private or a public sector. Is it clear?
Yes.
If it's a private sector, it means that resources, or it means that individuals and private firms owns the business. If it is a public sector, it means that it is state-owned. That means government of that country controls those firms. But in the market system, resource allocation is basically done by individuals and private firms. So in the market system, a country that uses the market system economy means that they're going to have larger proportion of their firms in the private sector than public sector. Do you get it or not?
The mixed market system is
in a market economy.
Yeah,
the largest proportion of firms are from the private sector. In the planned economy, the largest proportion of firms are state-owned. In a mixed economy, most of the time the private sector has more, but it's a mixture. I think it's clear.
Yeah.
So another classification of firms is through the size of the firms. So when we talk about the size of the firms, you're talking about how big or small the firms are. So how do you know how big? How do you measure how big or small the firm is? You can measure in different ways. Or you can measure based on the age of the firms. So he said most of the firms, the age of the firms, most firms start small. Every year new firms are set up, but not all of them survive. Those that do may take some time to grow in size. So you can measure how big or small a firm is based on the numbers of years the firm is in operation. So every year new firms will start up, but not all those new firms that start up will survive that year. So those that are able to survive it, those that were able to survive it, will continue to grow as year goes by. That means we can measure the size of the firm based on the age, the years of operation. The second one, the availability of financial capital. So how much how much capital the firm has invested into its operation can determine how big or small the firm is. That is the second point.
Yes.
Do you understand or not? The third point, the type of business organization. Is it a multinational? Is it a private owned? Is it a public limited company? Is it a private limited company? Is it a sole trader? Is it a is it a partnership business? So you can measure the size of the business based on its, we call it legal structure. We call it the legal structure. Is it solely owned, which is sole trader? Is it partnership? Is it joint? Is it multinational? Is it private limited company? So how big or small a firm is can be decided by its legal structure.
So sole trader is least.
Yeah, it's a business owned by somebody, an individual. So it's considered as the smallest of all.
Yes.
So you can know the size of a business based on its legal structure.
But sometimes bigger.
No matter
Some
how,
industries. Yeah.
since it's a sole trader,
Mhm.
it's still a small business.
Even if it's the
No
one.
matter how big it is, it's a sole trader, it's small.
Yes. You want start, man.
So now we continue with we talked about the type of business organization. That means we're talking about the legal structure.
Yes.
Then the next one is internal economies and diseconomies of scale.
Mm.
If a firm is experiencing lower average costs as it expands, it can lower the price for its products and capture more market share. The reluctance of experiencing internal economies of scale, where average costs rise with increase in output, may limit a firm's growth. The firm can be consistent. You can also measure the size of a firm based on how it deals with its internal economies and internal economies of scale or diseconomies of scale. If a firm is enjoying internal economies of scale, it means that as it's growing, its average cost is reducing, which is good. But if the firm is growing and is incurring more average cost, that means the firm should stop expanding because it has ever expanded. Do you get it or not?
No.
If a firm is experiencing, they said, if a firm is experiencing lower average cost as it expands, it can lower the price for its product and capture more market share. So, as a firm, if you are expanding your business and you are enjoying internal economies of scale, it means your average cost of production would have reduced. As a result, you can sell at a lower price. Yes or no? Selling at a lower price will attract more customers to your business, isn't it?
Yes.
So attracting more customers to your business increases your market share. Then we're going to measure your business based on the market share because now you are getting more customers from your competitors. But if you are expanding your business and you are incurring more cost, it's better you stop expanding because you won't be able to sell at a lower price and you start losing your customers. That's the point there. Is it clear?
Yes.
And the last one, the
Yes.
size of the market. So this is a key factor in determining the size of a business. If there is a large demand for the product, it is possible for a firm to grow to a large size. So the size of the market itself, if you have large numbers of customers that are demanding for your product, that as a result would make you to, would encourage you, would become an incentive for you to produce more on a larger scale. As a result, you become bigger. So some firms become bigger based on an increasing demand of their goods or of their products.
Yes.
Is it clear? Any question about it?
No.
When we talk about, we have economies of scale,
Yes.
which is a cost advantage as a result of expansion. That means a firm is witnessing a reduction in its average cost of production due to the fact that the firm has expanded. That is economies of scale. So we have internal economies of scale and external economies of scale. For internal economies of scale, these are average or average cost reduction within your business. That means because you are expanding, you are experiencing this reduction in average cost. For external, this is average cost of reduction in the average cost of production as a result of expansion within the industry. Expansion within the firm is internal economies of scale. Expansion within the industry is external economies of scale. So if you are witnessing reduction in your average cost of production based on you expanding your business, it is assumed to be called internal economies of scale. But if the whole industry is experiencing reduction in the average cost of production, it is external. For example, schools, right? There are a lot of schools in Tripoli now, yes or no? Before now, let's say some 6 years ago, some 7 years ago, we don't have a lot of libraries where we can buy books, yes or no? But as a result of having more schools these days, a lot of libraries are available, yes or no? So it becomes easier for firms or for schools to be able to get their books within a short period of time, isn't it? So availability of raw material, availability of materials was as a result of the educational industry becoming bigger. Before now, there was no piercing centers in Tripoli, in Libya. But now there are piercing centers in Libya. Yes or no? Yes. It's because now a lot of schools are setting up it and they are becoming bigger. Yeah. So the industry is becoming bigger, so it becomes attractive to other firms or to other service sector to come into that industry. That is external economies of scale. Do you get it now? So it is external because now there are a lot of teachers available. Now there are a lot of subjects that are taken. These are external.
But this economic scale is the opposite.
This economies means that as you are expanding, your average cost of production is increasing. Either internal or external. It's this economies of scale. As you are expanding, as the business is expanding, the business is witnessing increase in the average cost of production. That is called this economies of scale. Is it clear now? Shall we continue? So go to the small size. So we have small firms. Despite the benefit of growth, a large proportion of the firms in any country are small. There are a number of reasons for this. One, the small size of the market. As suggested earlier, this is probably the key influence if demand for the product is small. A firm producing it cannot be large. The first, when you talk about small firms, you're talking about firms that naturally they might be small. So if they are small, why are they small? They might be small because the demand for their product is just little. So if the demand for your product is little, why do you want to increase your output? Why do you want to increase your size? That is the point here. So the small size of the market. So if the market is small, then there's no point expanding your business because you are dealing with small numbers of customers.
There's no consumer stuff.
Do you get it? Yes. Two, preference of consumers. For some personal services, such as hairdressing, consumers prefer small firms. Such firms can cater to their individual requirement and can provide a friendlier and more personal service. So another reasons why some firms remain small is because of preference of consumers. Personal services like hairdressing salon, barbing salon. Most of the time they are small because when they are so big, customers don't want to go there because they might not be attended to personally. So customers want a one-on-one service. They want businesses that will listen to them. And these are personalized services. You want this type of haircut, you want to interact with your barber, you want to interact with your hairdresser. These are personalized services. So you don't need to have a big company for that. Is it clear? Yes. We're talking about reasons for having a small firm. The third point, owner's preference. Some businesses, their owners, not that their owners are not wealthy, they are wealthy, but they choose to let the business remain small. That's their choice.
So it's not risky.
Yeah, it's no, maybe they don't want to risk more or whatever it is, but their own personal choice, not to let the business become bigger. One of the reasons why they might not want their business to become bigger is because they don't want to take more responsibilities. They don't want to take more responsibilities. It might be the reason. The next one, flexibility. Despite the advantages of large firms, small firms may survive because they may be able to adjust to changes in market conditions more quicker. For small firms, they can adjust. When there's a change in the market, small firms can quickly readjust. But it is difficult for large firms to do that because large firms will need they need to put a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of paperwork to change things. I could have a barber store now, and if I feel like it's not forthcoming, I could change it to a laundry service. It's easier. But a school cannot just quickly change to a hotel. That is the flexibility. So small firms have the flexibility to adapt to changes in the market. Is it clear?
Yes.
Next one. The next one. Technical factors. In some industry, little or no capital is needed. This makes it easy for new firms to set up. It also means that technical economies of scale are not important and small firms do not suffer a cost disadvantage. The lower the barriers to entry, the larger the number of small firms there are likely to be in the industry. So if firms do not need to invest in equipment, in machinery, in technology, then there's tendency for different firms to come into that industry. What I'm saying is this: if the industry does not need more equipment, investment on machinery, that means people can do their business manually, people can do their business with their own craft. Then that industry would have a lot of firms, small firms in it. Do you get the point or not? The point is this: they said technical factors.
Yes.
If in an industry there's no need to invest so much on technology, there's no need to invest so much on machinery. It means in such firms, there's no need to have so much money before you can set up in such firm, before you can set up in such industry. So firms do not need to spend so much on equipment to start up. Firms do not need to spend so much on machinery to start up. So that means in such industry, it is easier to start up. So the barriers to entry is not difficult, is not high in such industry. So as a result of that, firms might remain small. They don't need so much money to set up. That is the point. Do we get it or not?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Another reason why a firm could remain small is the lack of financial capital. If firms do not have the financial capability to expand, they will remain the way they are.
Yes.
And no, small firms find it difficult to source for finance externally. So most of the time, sole traders, they use their own personal savings to start up a business. So the more money you have, the more money you have, the more you have, the more possibility you have to expand your business.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes.
The next one is location. So when talking about location, they said if a product is relatively heavy in relation to its value, transport costs can form a high proportion of total cost. This can lead to emergence of local rather than national markets, and such market can be supplied by small firms. If a product is relatively heavy in relation to its value, transport costs can form a high proportion of total cost. If the products are so heavy, that means you have to spend so much on transport to take them from one location to another. Yes or no?
Yes.
So this might make local firms to start transacting with that big firms. So local firms will make themselves available to be able to take those products in bits. So new firms are set up, but they are smaller because the only thing they need to do is to transport those goods or those products to their destination. So they don't need to be big because they are not the one producing, they are only transporting. So the location might also determine what happens with a firm. So the big firms will produce it, but there are small firms that will deliver. So they become a business too.
Yes.
cooperation between small firms. For example, small farmers may join together to buy seeds, foodstuff, and equipment such as combined harvesters. So if firms feel that they can come together, instead of they can come together for production, they will do, and they will remain the way they are. Get the point here. If firm A thinks that firm B can help out, sometimes when there is increase in production, then there's no need to expand. So whenever firm B needs firm B will call firm A. And whenever firm A needs firm B, firm A will call firm B. So there's cooperation between them. So there's no need to expand their business because they know it's not going to be like regular basis. Maybe it's seasonal. So when the season comes, they cooperate to produce instead of increasing instead of expanding, which in the long run might become these economies of scale. Is it clear? The next one, specialization. When we talk about specialization, it means concentration of individuals, concentration of firms in one aspect of production. So a firm that concentrates in that a firm can concentrate on producing water. That's the only thing it produces. So it doesn't need to be so big because this is only what it produces. So because the firm concentrates on one aspect of production, it doesn't need to have a big premises for that, or it doesn't need to expand.
Yes,
Do you understand?
yes, sir.
Government support. Governments in many countries provide financial help and advice to small firms. This is because small firms provide a large number of jobs, develop the skills of entrepreneurs, and have the potential to grow into large firms. So with government support, a lot of small firms will be able to set up because they know that when they set up, government will be there to help them. Is it clear?
Yes.
So a recap of this, we're talking about small firms and what are the reasons why we have small firms. What are small firms? Small firms are firms that their output is always low. They have low output. So what are the reasons why we could have a smaller firm? One, the small size of the market. If the demand for your product is less, there's no need for you to there's no need for you to expand your business. That's the first one. The second one is about the preference of consumers. Some consumers, they want personalized services. So because businesses, one of a strategy of marketing is to understand, or one of the reasons for market research is to anticipate the needs of customers. So in the course of anticipating the needs of customers, you'll be able to know what customers need. Oh, customers in this country need personalized services. So if they need personalized services, that means it don't have to be so big because we call it personalized service. So you don't have to be so big before you can attend to this type of customers. So some firms remain small because of the needs or preferences of consumers. Hairdressers are always small firms. Barber shops are always small firms. Laundry are always small firms. Is it clear? The third point is the owner's preference. Some owners are wealthy. They can become so big, but they choose to remain small, probably because they want to take decisions only. Probably they don't want to take so much risk or much responsibility. The next one is flexibility. Some small firms have the flexibility to adapt. Small firms can easily adapt to changes in the market situation, unlike bigger firms. Bigger firms find it difficult. So some firms will remain small because of the kind of market they are in, and they are flexible. The market they are in is flexible, so they can adapt to changes within the market. So they want to remain small. Technical factor. When we talk about technical factor, we're talking about investment in machinery, investment in equipment. So if the industry does not need so much investment, huge investment on machinery or equipment, then there's no need to become big. So that means because the industry doesn't need so much investment on equipment or machinery, a lot of small businesses can set up in that industry because they don't need high startup capitals. Clear. The other one is lack of financial capital. Some firms will remain small. Some firms, they want to expand, but they cannot expand because they lack the financial capability. Location. Where the business are set up at might also determine how big or small they can become. So if the location for businesses that produce heavy material or heavy products, is far away from their customers, their customers,
Revenue cost.
it means they would need, it will increase their cost of transportation. So it means that local businesses have to set up within that location so that they can deliver the product. So those local businesses that are setting up will remain small because they are not the main producer, they only deliver. Clear? Cooperation between small firms. If there's cooperation between small firms, there might not be need for those small firms to expand. So that means if firm A needs firm B in a season, firm A will call firm B. If firm B needs firm B will call if firm B needs firm B will call firm A. So they can work together. So they don't need to expand their business, especially if it is seasonal demand. Is it clear? Yes. Because if they expand, they might witness these economies of scale. The next one is specialization. Some firms remain small because they concentrate in producing one aspect of production. So that aspect does not need to be so big. You get it? Yes. There might be a niche market. They might be producing for a niche market. That means specific product for specific customers. The last one is government support. If government in an industry helps smaller businesses, a lot of small businesses will set up in that industry. So they know that when they set up, government will help them. So a lot of small firms will come up as a result of government financial help, like subsidy. So these are the reasons why some businesses will remain small. Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
Any question about that?
No.
We continue with causes of the growth of firms. We said they are small firms. When you talk about growth, it means a small firm that is emerging to become big. That is what growth is about. Becoming bigger in size, in height, in output. That is growth. Yes or no?
Yes.
So they said there are two ways a firm can increase in size. So a firm, one is called internal growth. This is also referred to as natural or organic growth. A firm can become big internally. And if a firm is increasing internally, it means organic or natural growth. This occurs when a firm uses its own resources to become bigger. That is internal growth. Do you get it?
Yes, yes, yes.
So we call it internal growth because the firm is using its own resources to expand. That's internal. So internal growth is the same as organic growth or natural growth. I think that is clear.
Yes.
So they said it involves a firm increasing the market for its current product or diversifying into other products. This type of growth may occur through increasing the size of existing plants or by opening new ones. For example, McDonald's, the US fast food chain, has gone to a large size of opening by opening more and more outlets throughout the world. McDonald's do this through what? Franchise. So McDonald's is so big now through franchise. Do you understand?
I do. Can you say what franchise?
Franchise is you buying the brand name of a business to use in your own operations. There's KFC here.
Yes, KFC.
Yeah, KFC here is a franchise. So the owner is a manager. It might be a Libyan that owns it, but he's not the owner of KFC. He's a manager at KFC.
Yeah.
So KFC is here. KFC is expanding. KFC is having a lot of plants, a lot of branches over the world.
Yes.
But it is not. It might not be owned by KFC. It might be through franchise. So this is still internal because the name still remains KFC. So internal growth implies that the business is using its own resources for expansion. Is it clear?
Yes.
So that is internal. So the other way through which a firm can grow is through external growth. This involves the firm joining with another firm or to form one firm to form one. Sorry. The other way through which a firm can grow is through external growth. This involves a firm joining with another firm or firms to form one firm through a merger or takeover. So the other method of growth is through external. When we talk about external growth, it means firm A and firm B coming together to become one, or firm A and firm B coming together to become firm A and firm B. Do you get the point here?
Yes, yes.
So there is one called merger and takeover. Merger occurs when two firms come together to have a new name. Do you understand? That is merger. So firm A and firm B coming together to become firm A and firm B. But when it comes to takeover, it means firm A is buying over firm B to become firm A. So either ways, they are both what integration, which is external. Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
So we have different types of takeover.
Merge.
Yeah, it's takeover. We have different, we call them integration.
Yes,
We have different types of integration. One, we have horizontal and vertical. Then we have conglomerate. So here they said, so the three main types of merger are horizontal merger, vertical merger, and conglomerate merger. So it's going to take us to merger, but before we go into merger, we stop here anyway.
Yes.
So let me just preview them. When we talk about merger, merger means two firms coming together to become one. So as soon as they become one, they could do it because they are in the same level of production. That means a firm in the primary sector merging with a firm in the primary sector. That means a school merging with another school.
Same
Industry.
Yes.
That is horizontal integration.
Same industry. Yes. Vertical.
Then vertical integration means that a firm in the same industry are merging, but they are not in the same stage of production. They are in the same industry,
yeah.
but in different stages of production.
Primary, yeah, primary and secondary.
Yes, so we could talk about a pharmaceutical company and a pharmacy. A pharmaceutical company is in the manufacturing sector. A pharmacy is in the service sector. So coming together is vertical.
Yes,
So we have forward vertical or backward vertical. So when we go to merger, we'll talk more about it. And conglomerate. When we talk about conglomerate, we're talking about different businesses coming together, different industries, businesses running different industries. You could have a business, you could have a school, you could have a hospital, you could have a pharmacy. This is what we call conglomerate.
So like one firm owning
one business owner having different firms in different industries.
Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yes.
All right.